Hello, my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. I have to be really quiet right now because both my children are napping, hence why I'm using my phone as a mic because I can't speak loud enough to get to the camera and make it reasonably loud. So here we are. It's gonna be like ASMR, I guess. But today I wanted to give you guys an update on my IKEA greenhouse cabinet. I have a rudsta wide cabinet, and I also figured I would maybe update you on how the plants surrounding the cabinet are doing, just this whole section of plants. I've been wanting to do an update video for all of my plants in general in my entire collection, but I feel like most of my updates have to do with this cabinet anyway, so let's just do a cabinet specific update. And I figured, yeah, that would be plenty of content for just one video. I guess I'll take you over here and show you just kind of what's going on and just talk about how I've enjoyed the rudsta. I think it's been, 4 months? 3 months? 4 months? I think it's been 4 months since I got this rudsta, set it up. I have a video that I'll link. But yeah, things have already changed quite a bit in here, and there's been a lot of growth in the plants in here as well. So yeah, let's get into it. This is just to give you a general idea of what the rudsta looks like. I mean, I've got some fun stuff going on. There's definitely some wasted space, and I think we can talk about that and how I want to make better use of the space. But as it is right now, I mean, it feels fairly full, but it's not crazy, you know? And then up on the rudsta itself, I've got a bunch of plants. And then I also have my humidifier that I don't run during the summertime, so it's just been sitting there and empty. And I'll have to give it a nice thorough clean before the winter time begins. But I just have my newly potted up philodendron Attabopoense over there that's just vibing. I don't know if that's going to be my permanent spot for it, but it works for now. And this plant stand, I actually moved my Maranta silver band. I went ahead and moved it outside of the cabinet to be right here just because I don't know, I like how it looks, and I didn't feel like it really was benefiting all that much from the humidity. And it's probably getting about the same amount of light right here as it was down at the bottom of the cabinet, so you know, whatever. And then down below here is my Syndapsis Jade Satin, which I'm gonna have to, it really does not get a whole lot of light. And so it's it's been a bit of a slow grower, but I started this from just 2 wee propagations. And I mean, all things considered, I think it's coming along pretty nicely. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's such a beautiful plant, oh my goodness. One of these days I'll definitely put it in a higher light situation. But okay, so I gave you a little bit of a peek of some of the plants are in the cabinet, but I think now I'm going to take you inside the cabinet. I turned off the fan so that it wouldn't be so aggressive. Then I'll show you what's on top of the cabinet at the end. I guess I'll start on the bottom here. My Alocasia cuprea that is looking absolutely stunning. I thought that this plant was going to croak on me, but thankfully it did not. Thankfully, it's doing just fine. I think part of the problem was it got shipped to me at this point, 8 months ago, and it was stable, but then it started losing a lot of leaves, and I repotted it, but I maybe wasn't as gentle as it needed. It started dying, and so I threw it in my prop box as a last ditch effort to save it. It started recovering some leaves, and then I put it in this cabinet once it seemed stable, and now it has since put out this newest leaf right here that is just absolutely stunning. But it's not growing super quickly, but it's also not super close to the light either. Honestly, if it grew any quicker and sized up its leaves this significantly, I don't really know what I would do, so it's fine. And then right here is my Pink Princess philodendron. The leaves are getting stuck as usual, and it's a little bit frustrating. I really have spent a lot of time trying to figure out what this plant wants from me, and when I propagate it, the plants always seem to do so well in the prop box, but then as soon as I take them outside of the prop box, where they're not in 100% humidity and in a south-facing window, this plant just doesn't want to be happy or size up its leaves or anything. So okay, down here, this is an anthurium seedling. I wish I could pick it up to give you a better look, because that's my instinct right now, but one hand is holding the mic and the other hand is holding the camera. Unfortunately, I do not have a third hand to just pull out of nowhere to pick up this anthurium, but This is an anthurium seedling I unboxed on this channel. I think it's an anthurium crystallinum doriaki cross that's then crossed with a luxurians. So it's like a three-way cross, kind of. I mean, not exactly. It's like a hybrid that was then hybridized with a luxurians. It's come out with another, like, I think it's had 2 leaves in my care, and of course that one right there is ripped, unfortunately, but I did pot it up in soil because it was only in sphagnum moss. It's growing pretty nicely. I mean, it's really cute, and I'm excited to see what it looks like as it matures. Over here is just a begonia aerial that's living its best life, because it hated me for the longest time, but now that it's in the cabinet, it's actually like growing and happier. Although you can see its history. Look at how barren those like stems are back there. Woof. I should probably propagate this, but I think it's fine right now. But yeah, as you can see, like this bottom portion of the cabinet is just like so underutilized, but there isn't a lot of light that comes down here. So I think in the long run, I have a different plan. I would have to rearrange a lot of things, and so I just haven't done it yet, but I'll talk about that later. Okay, up here is much more exciting. So starting over here, this is my philodendron gigas, and it is absolutely loving this moss pole. Okay, actually, I've changed my mind. I'm getting really sick of holding the camera. I'm sorry. I'm gonna look really stupid down here, but it was just very jarring to me to not be able to pick up the plant and show it to you. It was just way too limiting. So we're gonna do this instead. As I was saying, my philodendron gigas. Hang on, I have to do another change. I'm so sorry. I'm the worst ever. I'm the worst host. Hang on. Okay, is that better? I mean, it's still not great, but I think this will be a lot better. I just turned off the overhead grow light. My philodendron gigas, if you can even see it, because this is really backlit. It's beautiful, it's stunning, and there's this like newest leaf that's coming out. I definitely need to add more moss to this pole, and I will need to extend it. This is very quickly becoming one of my absolute all-time favorite philodendrons right now, because it's so freaking gorgeous, and like the leaves are all velvety and have this beautiful coloration to it, because yes, it's this deep green, but there's also hints and undertones of like red, and it's so good. And right here, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. I swear I'll at least get B-roll, but there are roots it's fully rooted into this pole, baby. And I will say this pole was a massive experiment, and this is something that I'm really proud of because it turned out so beautiful. And then I guess because this is just in the way, here's my variegated string of hearts, and it's kind of taking over in some ways. It's very all over the place, but it's absolutely adorable. Again, I'm probably gonna have to get B-roll. Look at how cute this is, and it's so long. I'm definitely gonna need to propagate this at some point. It's pretty much like hitting the bottom of the cabinet now, and it really loves being in the cabinet, I think, and like the top portions are getting like sun stressed, and it's so nice, but it's like hair, it's getting tangled everywhere. Oh my goodness, I really love this plant. I wish that I could have it like just out and about in my home. The problem is that my cats see this and they foam at the mouth. Like, they aren't cats anymore. They become feral. They see red. All they want is to murder this and express all kinds of violence against this string of hearts. And so I just can't really have it like out in my home very easily. I do have one that is out in my home, but it's like hanging really high up, and it's not like the best location for it, but it's at least out of the way. And my other one is outside right now. So yeah. Okay, over here. Let's try to not destroy my cabinet as I remove this. This is my anthurium crystallinum. She's beauty, she's grace, absolutely breathtaking. I will say I did miss a watering while I was putting out a new leaf, and that new leaf perished right here, and I was very sad. But I think that's a sign that I really need to repot this plant, because I don't know if you can see that, but there are so many roots. No, you literally can't see it, but this, just trust me, take my word for it. There are so many roots, and there are even like new roots growing, because, you know, they're like pink and fuzzy, and this is quickly becoming root bound, and it needs to be watered like every 3 days. So I mean, you can't blame me for missing a watering when it needs to be watered every 3 days, right? But I will say I am shocked with how well this plant has done in my care. I was not expecting it to do so well, like at all, but it's so beautiful. And I love like the red margins of this plant in particular. Can you see the red margins? Or I'm gonna put this right here because I don't want to put it back right now. This is a Monstera siltepecana. I grew this from a wet stick, and I have like my other Monstera siltepecana plant, which that plant, by the way, has like never like really taken off for me, which is a little bit frustrating, but it's okay. But this like little bit here, I mean, it's pretty cute. I like it a lot, but I probably am gonna end up giving away or selling it. I'm gonna go back up here. This is my Syngonium strawberry milk. It's so cute. I feel like, hang on, let me show you like a really cute leaf. Look at that, the little pink stuff. It's very, oh my gosh, that's adorable. It looks like it has pink freckles, and it has a new leaf on the way too. I feel like this plant, I mean, it's doing really well. It likes being in like the obnoxiously high light of the cabinet. I think that's helping to bring out that variegation and keeping the leaves super light. I will say Syngonium I appreciate, but I feel like they're really hard for me to keep long term because they tend to get so unruly, and maybe I just need to like propagate them and prune them more often. But like, I don't know, I'm still figuring out how I personally want to care for my Syngonium. Does that make any sense? Because every Syngonium that I've owned eventually has just gotten like so weird. I'm over it, and then I like chop it up completely and let it start over and grow back bushier. I don't know. At a certain point, I start getting annoyed with Syngonium, especially because I feel like the older leaves tend to die off, so then you get like really barren stems. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong. That's just a random aside. Okay, and then this over here, oh my goodness. This is, okay, the bell of the ball right now. Okay, hang on. It's my Anthurium dark forgetii, and again, you can't really see the root system right now, but it's just in moss. Okay, no, you can kind of make it out. This newest leaf right here, look at that. Hang on, look at that. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. And it's still growing, like still hardening off. And then right here, look at this little inflow. I'm hoping to harvest the pollen and then like freeze it and then see if I can cross this with another Anthurium of mine, just for funsies. That is definitely on my bucket list, but it's doing really well. This is my Hoya linearis. It's going absolutely crazy right now, and it's growing in such a way that it's growing towards the light, and so it's like low-key getting burned. But this is like an entirely new offshoot, like brand new. This was not around before, and this piece is also growing, and like it's literally gotten so long. I'm definitely gonna need to chop and prop this soon and then like fill out this plant. But I'm really happy that like even on its own, it's growing from, you know, this top of the soil area. I really love that Hoya will fill themselves out like that. But yeah, this plant is taking off. I try to water it pretty frequently because it's in this itty bitty plastic cup that's in this terracotta pot as a cash po. I see some roots, but it's not like going absolutely crazy, so I'll still wait. I mean, it's still growing and seems happy, so I'll probably wait and hold off on repotting it. But I do have to water it pretty frequently because it's in such a small soil situation. Okay, I guess I'll go here now. This is my Philodendron White Princess. Of course, I recently featured it in my Philodendron collection video that just went up. I mean, I think that she's really cute. Her leaves do tend to get like stuck sometimes, and she's had some bottom leaves that have died off. All in all, I mean, she's growing decently well. I definitely need a better support situation because this is a very short chopstick, and she's outgrown it. And I've considered putting her on like a moss pole too, but I don't know if I should chop her up first and try to propagate her and then put her on a moss pole, or if I should just put her on a moss pole now. I just don't know. And I don't really have like the energy or the time to figure that out at the moment. So I'm just enjoying her for what she is and trying to not stress out about it too much. If anything, this little turtle pot just makes me smile every single time I see it, and my daughter is obsessed with it as well. Okay, going back up here, this is my Hoya Morillii, which I actually recently on a whim decided to repot into this terracotta pot. There was a whole thing where I actually had to like reroot it, and I had it in the prop box for a while and then now in the cabinet. Yeah, now it's having like a beautiful sun stress moment, which I'm loving. I think it's so cute, and it seems pretty happy. It does seem a little bit bleached as well in addition to the sun stress, so oops. But yeah, I've only had like a couple of new leaves from this plant. I think it's spent a lot of time trying to repair the root system, but I think in my care I've had these 3 new leaves, I think, or maybe 2 new leaves. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's been maybe 3 leaves, but like this one's my favorite. Look at how red that is. I love it. Oh, this is like a little bit of a tragedy, but so my Anthurium clarinervium had a flower, and while it had the flower, some of the older leaves were like yellowing off, and I was like,
that's like a little bit weird, but it has an inflorescence, so I'll just give it a free pass. It's probably fine and figuring itself out.
But then one day I was like,
I need to like actually check out and investigate this plant because it only has like 1 happy leaf left.
And so I went in and pulled it out of the pot, and pretty much the entire root system was completely rotted. So I had to chop away all the roots, and I put it in sphagnum moss, and we have completely started over with this plant. I had a feeling that this plant wasn't doing super well because it just wasn't thriving as much as I thought it would, like in the cabinet. And I think that honestly it probably had some of those root rot issues that were like underneath the surface for a really long time, and it just kept on getting worse because I didn't know about it, and it was like trying to heal itself, but like it just wasn't working. I'm really glad that I checked it out, but now it's rooting. I don't know if you can see that, but it's rooting really happily. It has a new growth point right there if you can see it. And so yeah, she's happy, and I'm happy to like get a chance to start over, and I'm really grateful that I followed my instinct and went ahead and checked it out because yeah, she was not doing so hot. Okay, and then this over here is my Anthurium dark crystallinum crossed with Anthurium papillanimum. This is like the only leaf that it's put out in my care, I think, but like look at how beautiful that is. I mean, it's still pretty small and humble, but like it's super well rooted in this little glass jar that I put it in. Like it's absolutely adorable. This one's also only in sphagnum moss, but like, oh my gosh, this leaf is so like deep and velvety and like has a shimmer to it that I am totally obsessed with. I love it, love it, love it. And then I think this is the last one that's actually in the cabinet. This is my philodendron Jose Buono. It's not like super variegated at all. It has, I don't know if you can tell, but it does have like very tiny like white freckles that fade away eventually, but at least it's rooted into the moss pole and it's growing really well. It's just like not variegated really, but I mean I purchased it knowing that it had low variegation. I was just kind of hoping that maybe it would I don't know what I really expected, to be honest with you. Okay, and on top of the cabinet really quickly, this is my Hoya pubic calyx. And for the longest time, it like didn't really grow. After I treated it for flat mites and I put it in this really bright location underneath this grow light, it has taken off, and it found its way onto like my window blinds. And it's really backlit, but like I'm not going to be able to pull it off to show it to you because like, yeah, one of these days I'll remove it maybe. But like, yeah, it grew towards something to climb, and it just kind of found its own trellis. Like the leaves have just taken off. It's so funny. It will find a way. For the rest of the plants on top of the cabinet, I'm going to just take them over here so that you can see them better, because like that grow light and the lighting is just atrocious. So, all right. The next plant is my Epipremnum pinnatum alba variegata. I love this plant. I recently repotted it in a video. It's doing fantastic, and I really need to add more plant velcro to like rein it back into this pole. But as you can see, hang on, look at this fenestration I'm about to show you. Look at that. It's such a big hole, and it's beautiful. I would say that was like the best leaf that I've gotten in a while, just in terms of the fenestrations. Like that's fantastic. But in general, yeah, like the variegation on this plant is like really nice. Yeah, I definitely need to do like some work with this plant with like getting it situated more on the pole. But yeah, I love this plant so much, and it's doing really, really well. Next is my Huernia zebrina, and this is definitely like my new favorite succulent. I know the lighting is kind of trash. The lighting in this entire video is kind of trash, but I just think it's so cute, and it's grown really, really well for me. I'll have to give you a closer look, but it's like there are all these little arms that are sprouting off of it, and it's just growing so well for me, and it's ridiculously easy. This is another one that I like repotted relatively recently. This is my fern leaf cactus that I potted up, and It's not doing the greatest. I don't fully understand why. I think it might just be like shocked from switching from the high humidity of the cabinet to ambient humidity, and it might just kind of be growing pains. But I'm hoping that like it does okay and bounces back, because I really like this plant and I want it to like grow and flourish and be a super gorgeous plant.
And I don't know, it's sentimental too, because it's from a plant trade, and like you always want those to do well because they're like from other people and they have memories more than just, oh, I went to a nursery and I bought the plant, you know?
Here's my alocasia dragon scale, and she's continuing to thrive. Here's a yellowing leaf I need to pick off. I'll deal with that later. Yeah, she's doing great as ever. She has a new leaf coming in over here. I don't know how well you can see that, but like this plant's a stunner and is really loving this self-watering pot. Self-watering pots might be the way to go with alocasia, honestly. And this is a really sleek one. Okay, over here, this plant has to be like one of my biggest comeback plants of the year. My Stromanthe Trio Star. And remember how I was like talking about how much I was kind of hating this plant low key? Well, I pampered it a little bit and I put it in a very high light situation, and I've been really careful to like water it, and I pruned away most of the leaves that were like icky. Let me just put it this way. This plant had spider mites and it just like wasn't doing well, but like now it's literally exploding with growth. You would not believe, it's so bushy, and like I don't even really notice it that much because it's kind of like a location that's slightly out of sight, out of mind. But every time I pull it out to water it, it has like 5 new leaves, and I'm like, bro, you're going off right now. I'm honestly so happy because it feels like I'm finally having like the Stromanthe Trio Star of my dreams, because this was a plant that I really wanted for a long time when I first got into collecting houseplants. And yeah, some of the older leaves you can still kind of tell have spider mite damage that's residual, but I can confidently say I'm pretty sure that this plant is pest free and it's really thriving right now. So I'm just so grateful that it's like taking off again. Okay, I just watered this plant, so it's really freaking heavy right now, but it's just my Monstera Thai constellation. And when people say that this plant is a slow grower, they definitely mean it, but there is a new leaf right here that's really happy. I don't know how you can see that. I might have to zoom in and show you in a minute, but like this plant's doing just fine. It's trucking along, and I will say, I mean, I think repotting it, I did that a couple weeks ago. That was definitely the move, because like very shortly after I repotted it, it has a new leaf, and it hasn't had like a new leaf in a long time. It's just coming in, and I'm excited to see what it looks like and if it has like fenestrations or anything, but it's definitely lost a few of the older leaves, but that's like totally normal. I do have this philodendron mayoi, and this plant is so underrated. Like, I really don't see enough people talking about it, because look at it. Look at it. And it's got a new leaf coming in too. It's been a really easy grower for me. I don't know how well you can see that new leaf. I am growing it as a crawler, which is kind of funny, but I have had 2 new leaves in my care, and there's also like a 3rd new leaf on the way. And these plants are really cool when the new leaves come in. Like, it reminds me of a philodendron tortum, but it's like the wish version of a philodendron tortum. But I think it's still like a pretty good dupe, I guess, because it's like significantly more affordable. At least it was for me. There's also like a new little growth point starting at the base of the plant, which I think is super cute and fun, and I was not expecting that to happen, but it's happening. But yeah, all in all, I'm really happy with how all of my plants have been growing in the cabinet. I will say, honestly, I do think that I eventually would like to rearrange the cabinet just to make it more efficient and find a way to, I might like take that U-shaped acrylic shelf and like lift it up by 1 level, and then move one of my grow lights, like clip it onto that shelf and move it down 1 level, so that I'd have like 2 grow lights on top, but like 1 grow light on like a mid level, if that makes sense. Because right now I just like don't have a lot of light on that bottom level, so like the plants that are down there just don't grow as quickly, and they're just not quite as happy as they would be if they had a little bit more light. And then the plants on the very, very top are like getting sun stressed, and in some cases maybe slightly bleached. I think like that middle U shelf is like the absolute sweet spot. Like the plants that are on there are the plants that are the absolute happiest right now, but I feel like I am not utilizing my space as well as I could be because of like the light limitations at the moment. But that will be another project for another day. I don't feel like it's necessary to do that right this second, but right now I do want to go ahead and pull everything out of the cabinet and just give everything a nice wipe down, because it's been a minute since I've done that and it definitely needs it. So yeah, let's do that. Well, I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Honestly, yeah, all in all, I'm loving the cabinet and I'm really happy that I got it, especially for my anthurium. I feel like it's been a godsend for that. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. All those things are super helpful for my channel. And yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye.